Hey, hello everybody. Old Man's Adventures here. I wanted to tell you about something that happened to my Ariel Rider Grizzly that I just made the video on about a week or so ago, maybe a week and a half. And then the weather turned sour and I wasn't able to ride for a pretty good while. And so anyway, we had a decent day a couple days ago, and I decided to take it for a ride. Well, I came down and I hit the power button on the thing, and it refused to power up. And this is after it's sitting in the garage for a week and a half, and I didn't know what to do. I know it ran great for the video that I made. Then I ran it the next day at home, and it ran fine there. When I went to turn it on the other day and the display wouldn't come on, I'm like, oh man, those controllers are fried again. So I started testing. Everything I tested good. Motors tested good, no shorts. The brake, I tested the brake things because the owner's manual says the brake switches could cause that not to come on. So I tested that. Nothing there. Couldn't find any problem anywhere. I checked every sensor on the bike. I couldn't find any problems anywhere, but it would not power up. So I called Ariel Rider. Well, I didn't call him, I emailed him. Told him, I said, I suspect the controllers are gone. I don't know what kind of warranty y'all have, but you know, they're less than a month old. I've only ridden about 10 miles on them. And anyway, they never did tell me what the warranty was. Probably not any on an electronic part, but anyway, they did get back to me. The guy, Steve, who got back to me, gave me procedures to test everything and how to test it. And I mean, my background is industrial electrician. He gave me the instructions, told me what to check, how to check it, and wanted me to get back with him with my test results. Well, I tested per his instructions, and I immediately shot him back an email telling him what my test results were. At that point, he shoots me back another email saying, well, John, sorry to tell you, but it appears that the issue is going to be in the display. So you need to replace the display. And that's right about $100 plus shipping. And I'm like, oh God, you know, I've already spent $250 on the controllers. I've spent $100 on new tires for the thing because the tires were worn out when I got it. I spent a little bit of money on a mirror because it had a mirror on it, but it was broken. And I'm like, geez, you know, this thing's going to nickel and dime me to death. And I don't even like the bike. That's the sad part, is I really, from my ride the first time, did not like the bike. I'm not a hub motor kind of guy. And while its performance impressed me, I didn't like the seating position. You know, there's a lot of things that I didn't care for. But anyway, okay, so I got Steve's email about the display and how much it was and did I want to order it. And it was late that evening, so I knew that there was no sense in emailing him right back because, you know, it wouldn't go out till the next day anyhow. So I just started trolling YouTube and trying to find out if I could find anything. And this display on this Ariel Rider, let me turn it on. The display on this Ariel Rider is a Bafang 850C. And even though it is, you can't replace it with a generic 850C because Ariel Rider has had Bafang build it apparently with some type of, well, the plugs are where a generic is male, this one's female, that kind of thing, you know. They just made it difficult to replace with anything except their version of the 850C. So anyway, I'm trolling around YouTube and I run across this video. Says the best hack for 850C Bafang display. And I'm like, well, let me look at that and see what it says. And lo and behold, there's this woman sitting on a fat tire e-bike at the beginning of it. And she goes, "It's a beautiful day for a ride. Let's go." And she pushes this power button and she goes, "Oh no, my bike won't power up. What could cause this?" And she says, "Well, fortunately, I have a hack that may be able to fix this problem." And so she takes the bike to the shop and she goes in, takes the display off, unplugs it from everything, takes it into the workbench, flips it upside down, and says, "This display has a battery." And as you can see, this is showing 12:01 a.m., 12:02 a.m. That's because it's been powered up for 2 minutes. It's going back. Every time you turn it off, it's going back to 12 o'clock. And it won't hold the date or the time. So there's a battery in here. There's like a watch battery. Very much like a computer has a CMOS battery, okay, to maintain settings in the computer. Well, this has a little battery too. So she says, here's what you do. You flip it over, and she says, right on the back side, there is a little symbol of a rubbish container, she calls it, trash can. It's a trash can telling you not to throw this in the trash. Okay? Right at the top of that, you can take a drill and drill a little hole just right above that trash can. And it doesn't have to be a huge hole, but it does have to be big enough that you can see the battery. Now, if you're lucky enough to get right over top of the battery when you drill through, you'll be great. But then you take a piece of wire and you short from that battery to the negative pole on the bottom of the display where it shows on the back side. And you hold that for 10 seconds and then you let go, and guess what? You put it back on the bike and it powered right up. And I'm like, man, that is the greatest thing ever. So I did this the next day, so I immediately sent Steve an email back at Ariel Rider saying, hey, don't need the display for now. I got mine going again, and here's how. And I sent him a link to the video. And I said, you know, this won't sell any displays, but it'll sure make a hero out of somebody. And he said, well, unfortunately, due to liability, we can't recommend that customers drill holes in their electronics, which I get, but there's no chance of you getting shocked if you've got it off the bike, disconnected from any power. So anyway, now I'm gonna see. You see, it's at 12:04 now. Let's turn it off. Okay. Now let's turn off the battery. Let's let it sit for a few minutes, and then I'm going to turn it back on. But anyway, in the meantime, so yeah, it worked. And the lady on the video, she filled her hole, the hole that she drilled in hers, up with silicone sealant. Me, I'm not that. I didn't want anything that permanent, because I'm like, hey, this might happen again. So what I did, and I don't know if you can see it, I'm going to try to get you in there where you can see it. Oh, you see that white on there? That's where the hole is, and it's easy to get to when you get the thing off the bike. But anyway, I covered it with a piece of Gorilla Tape, because I figured, you know, Gorilla Tape is, I think you could probably build a boat out of Gorilla Tape and it would float. So I figure that's good to cover that hole. And if I need to do it again, I just peel the tape off and do it again. But anyway, yeah, that's the problem. Okay, let's try powering this thing back on now and seeing what it does. All right, we'll power on. Power on. And there it comes. And you see, it's gone back to 12 a.m. So what the deal is that watch battery that's in there is dead. It is absolutely dead. Now, I guess if you really wanted to, you could probably drill a big enough hole that you could probably replace that battery. I hadn't thought about that till now, but yeah, I could see, I could see you getting a big enough hole in there if you drilled a big hole to replace that battery. And then it would, but you know, they talk in the video about leaving your bike turned on so that it doesn't. Well, let's just watch something. Let's just see what happens here. Okay, I'm gonna let it count a little bit, a couple minutes anyway, and but anyway, they talk in the video. They say, okay, the way to do this is you need to leave your bike on. You need to turn the auto off function on your display off, so your display stays on all the time. You need to leave the power on the batteries when you park the bike, and leave your display on, if I read what she was saying correctly, and just walk away from it like this, okay? With it in this state, battery on, display on, and just leave it parked like that. Now, I don't like that idea, and the reason I don't like that idea is because if somebody were to walk up and grab this throttle, there she goes. And that's no good. You know, that's not good at all, because anything can happen, you know. Grandkids, and it could be disastrous. So I am not a fan of that idea. Now, and she says that shorting that, what revived the display, is going to allow that battery, that watch battery in there, to charge from the battery down here. I'm not sure I buy that. I'm not sure I buy that. So let's see what happens. Let's just turn it off. There we go. Now this time I'm not going to turn the battery off. I'm going to leave the battery on. But now it's in a relatively safe state, because I can twist the throttle and nothing happens. Okay? So it's in a relatively safe state now. But the battery switch is still on. I've got another battery, by the way, back here, but I'm not going to turn it on. This one's so much easier to get to. I mean, this one's not hard to get to. Everybody that owns one of these knows where it's at. It's right under here. It's just right there underneath on the bottom side of the battery. But Okay, well, I'm going to leave that off for a couple minutes, and we'll see what happens. And so if I turn it back on here in a few minutes and it's still holding the time, then that means that it's feeding off this battery, but the display doesn't have to be on to hold that memory. Okay, and if it's gone back to 12 o'clock, then I either need to replace that battery or get a new display. And I hate the idea of getting a new display because it's another $100. Let's see if it held its date. Here we come. And no, it went back to 12 o'clock. So, my guess is that battery is shot. And I didn't drill a big enough hole to get that battery out, but you can see over about half the battery through the hole I drilled. So I may take it back off, take it to the bench, increase the size of that hole a little bit, and try to replace that battery. And if I'm successful, then it should hold the time after I shut it off. But I'm not going to leave it sit in my garage like this. Not happening. Because like I said, that's just too dangerous. It's just too dangerous because anybody can, it could just jump out from under anybody who just happens to be sitting on it. Not going to go there. But yeah, it went back to 12 o'clock. So anytime you turn this display off, it's going to lose its date and time. And I hate that. I don't understand how it maintains. It must write it to EEPROM or something, because it's maintaining its trip, but it's not. See the time, 3:38. I don't know where that's coming from either. And it's counting. Oh, that's time on. So, but it's maintaining that. But it won't maintain the, I don't get it. It must write this data to a memory chip so it can access it. And this requires power applied to that battery. So anyway, I don't know. If that's the only thing it does is mess with the date and time, I'm not going to worry with it, because I could care less. I can look at my watch and see what date and time it is. So anyway, and I might try drilling it out and replacing that battery. We'll see. All right. That's what I wanted you to see. So I wanted to let you know, if you have a dead 850C display and you need to revive it, that's how you do it. And as you can see, it works like a charm. But yeah, you lose your time. It won't maintain the time. So anyway, that's it. Old Man's Adventures. Ariel Rider Grizzly. I'm out of here.